My father, my father, my father's my father.
I mean,
My father, 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 my father's my father, 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 my father's my father, my father, my father, my father's my father, my father's my father, 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 and my father, my father.
Welcome to Coffee Club. I'm your host, Paul Chappell, and this is a coffee break. I've been working hard, and I almost missed this great story about Meghan McCain, but let's see what she said. There's a clip on Twitter, and then I'll talk about it a little bit.
We're going to a place where even excluded women farmers. And so we're going to a place where even if people need money, even if people are qualified to get into Ivy Leagues, race and gender is more important than your skill qualifications, the content of your character. It is not what Martin Luther King Jr. preached. I think this is a very, very slippery slope. I was very surprised to hear someone like Tammy Duckworth say something like this. She got a lot of blowback from a lot of people, not just on the right. And I think this is actually just the natural progression of identity politics. And I will say, just to put a cap on this, The View is 25 years old next year. We've only had one Asian American co-host this show. So does that mean that one of us should be leaving at some point because there's not enough representation? We're talking about, is identity politics more important than qualifications of a job? And I think that's a question going forward that the progressive left is going to have to reconcile.
Okay, so the obvious liberal answer to this is it's kind of a joke to assume that everybody getting into an Ivy League school is there on merit. I guess she didn't hear anything about legacy admissions. That's when somebody whose parent went to the university gets ahead in the line a little bit. In fact, I say this as a liberal. I'm kind of conservative too, but I say this as someone who's fairly liberal and loves Barack Obama. But Barack Obama, one of the reasons he got into Harvard is because his father went to Harvard. Now, is that the only reason he got into Harvard? Hell no. I mean, personally, I think he's a genius, but I'm sure it played a factor. So let's just dispel this notion that smart people go to Ivy Leagues. It's just not true. There are a lot of smart people, but Ivy Leagues need money just like everybody else. And the easiest way to get money is to let an alumni's child into your university. So that's the obvious way we're going with this conversation, and people are just bashing her because, of course, Meghan McCain is where she is because her last name is McCain, and she mentions her father over and over again. She won't let anybody forget. But then someone said something about she's not qualified to be on The View. And I stopped out right there. I was like, hold on. Wait a minute. You have to be qualified to be on The View? Seriously? I mean, I admit I don't watch The View regularly or at all, but it seems to me like it's just a bunch of women talking. There's no journalism. I mean, I love Whoopi Goldberg, but Whoopi Goldberg is not there because she went to journalism school. Whoopi Goldberg is there because she's an Oscar-winning actress and comedian. She's entertaining. Joy Behar, although I did check on Joy Behar. Joy Behar actually went to college. Joy Behar was an English teacher. I didn't know this. And a comedian. Sarah Haynes, she had a bachelor's degree in government and a bunch of other stuff. A lot of NBC stuff. ABC News correspondent. So Sonny Hostin is a lawyer. So these are some very accomplished women. I'm not saying they're not accomplished. Meghan McCain. she went to Columbia, and I'm sure she got in Columbia because of her dad. She studied art history, I think. So is she qualified on paper? See, here's my problem with when people say somebody's qualified. It almost always means were they good at tests? Did they have a degree and all that? But that's not the only way to evaluate somebody. There are lots of things that you can have besides book learning that are important. Especially, let's be frank here, this is show business. So is Meghan McCain qualified? I'm going to say something controversial. Hell yes, she's qualified. You know why? See, the assumption here is that Meghan McCain is some kind of journalist. She's not a journalist. She's an actress. You know how I know she's an actress? Because I've heard people who actually know her. I think it was Anna Kasparin on the Young Turks and Sam Cedar on the Majority Report. Both of them have said that Meghan McCain is not really that conservative. She's playing a part on the show. And all these idiots saying she should be fired, she's not going to get fired. She's probably going to get a raise. People watch the show because she's this dumb conservative woman who says these ignorant things. That's her whole appeal. That's what she's there for. Well, like I said, Anna Kasparin said that Meghan McCain is pro-choice in real life. And she's definitely not pro-choice on the show. She brags about how she likes to shoot guns with her husband. I mean, come on. She's heir to Anheuser-Busch. She's heir to Anheuser-Busch. Every time a redneck throws back a beer at some hick bar, she's getting a cut of that. Well, maybe not now, but certainly when her mom dies. She's not shooting any guns. I doubt she's ever shot a gun. I guarantee you, the only body that's shot a gun around her, maybe her husband and maybe her security team, whoever that is. So I just wish people would get away from this notion that she is somehow, not on there saying things that are going to enrage people. That's exactly what she's there for. And let me tell you something else. I don't believe in the idea that people don't like polarization. They love polarization. In fact, right now, the most popular thing on my channel are my coffee breaks. Why? Because I talk about controversial stuff. I talk about Karens. I talk about QAnon. I talk about political crazy people. We love crazy people. So that's exactly what Meghan McCain is providing on The View. And I just wish people would stop being disingenuous about it. So that's pretty much why I wanted to say, will we ever be a meritocracy? I don't think so. Because, again, here's the thing. You can have two qualified people. Forget that. Let's say you have two guys who both went to college. They're up for a manager job. One of them is even more. Okay, let's say Bob is more qualified than Tim. Okay, but Tim, he has a more gregarious personality. He's likable. He makes, when he goes in for the interview, he makes everybody laugh. Who you think is going to get hired? The guy who's slightly more qualified or the guy that made the people in the interview laugh? It's going to be the guy who made the people in the interview laugh. Because here's the fact of the matter. We are not robots. People are not robots. We want to work with people who are pleasant and funny. And believe me, I've seen lots of mediocre white guys, even some white guys who didn't have any personality. So some of it is racism, but I've seen some very mediocre white guys get ahead. And it's not because they were smart. It was because they were the good old boy. It's the guy you want to hang out after work and have a beer. And I understand that. And I'm the guy who came, I've seen guys get ahead of me. in my job. I mean, one of the reasons I don't get ahead is because I don't like being a manager. I've been a manager a couple times, and I do not like to hear people whining. So that's my problem with being in management. But I've seen a lot of people getting ahead, and sometimes it's not always about book learning. It just isn't. So that's where we are in this society. But all these people hoping that Meghan McCain is going to get fired. The only way she would ever get fired if she called Whoopi Goldberg the N-word on air. That's the only way she's going to get fired. So dream on, people. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? Let me know. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.